in her recovery. She never said one single word to me and barely looked at me. Again, this was right after the event and I'm understanding that this is how it has to be. But honest to God, that entire conversation was just awkward as hell. I leave, go home and attempt to focus on how I can help her. I start Googling how to deal with a rope survivor and what I can expect. She starts going to therapy initially 2 times a week, then after 2 months it goes down to 1 day a week. In the meantime, she finally makes contact with me and asks to meet at a coffee shop. I get there and she is already there and waiting. At this point in time they had her so medicated that I was dealing with a zombie for the most part. There was no emotion and she was very methodical in her speech. Basically she wanted to get together that day to tell me that she couldn't go out with me for a while until she got past some issues she was dealing with. Of course I told her I understood. This was almost a month after the attack and this was our first conversation by ourselves, so I was already living under this assumption. I told her I would be there for her and that whatever she needed, whether that be space or a shoulder to cry on or anything, I was there for her. I started to tell her that I loved her and she stopped me. She told me that right now she didn't want to hear that and that I had to respect her wishes. I was once again a little hurt and frankly surprised, but I said whatever she wanted. She starts texting me the next day. Little things, nothing important, but I think it is a big step in getting back to where we were. This goes on for another month and a half. I finally asked her at the month and a half mark if we could meet for dinner. She didn't reply for 2 days and then said that she had to wait for to talk to her therapist. Finally she agrees to this but sets the date for another month away. Now mind you, this is almost 4 months after the attack and so far I've had one physical conversation with her in person and one bizarre conversation with her and her family. Oh yay, I need to mention this. I am not being updated on her progress by anyone. Granted, I realize that I am not officially family nor am I entitled to do anything, but it would have been nice to just get a text or call or something from someone telling me that she was doing good in therapy or was not or anything. We go out to eat at a small bistro that we ate at all of the time. I met her there and I was waiting for her to show up. After sitting for a half hour waiting, I text to see what was up. I just get a text of on my way. She finally arrives and sits down. I ask her how she has been and she snapped at me and told me to not ask her personal questions. We ate and after dinner I wanted to just sit and talk because I missed the person I had talked to almost every day for the previous 3 years. But when she was done eating she said that she was ready to go home. I asked her if she could stay for just a few minutes to talk, but I could see that she was becoming physically anxious and I did not want to upset her, so I said that I loved her and missed her. She just walked away. She goes back to texting me the next day like nothing had been wrong. We actually start to see each other once a week for lunch and she is getting more and more comfortable with being out, so she sits and talks a while. She has also started a new job which she tells me about. This goes on for another 4 months. I'm happy to see her and all, but honestly I'm very lonely and we have not even so much as held hands. Then one day she doesn't show up for lunch. I text to see if she is okay. No reply. I call her parents to see if they know where she is and to make sure she is okay. I got the runaround from them and by this time I'm starting to get upset because I don't want to know where she was at or anything, I just wanted to know if she was okay. After actually saying that, her mom says, yes she is okay but don't expect to hear from her for a while. Well, that makes me start to thinking she has had a relapse and is in the hospital. But what can I do? All I do is go home and try and take my mind off of it. 2 weeks pass with nothing from anybody. I'm trying my best to be reasonable here, but basically I call her sister and ask if she is still alive or what. She knew I was getting frustrated, so she apologizes, but that her sister told them to specifically not let me talk to her. At this point I break down. I don't know what I've done wrong here. I have not pushed her. I have not tried to get her to be with me in any way other than to just talk to me, and even then I have had very generic conversations so as to not upset her. I then get a text from her asking if I would meet with her at an address I wasn't familiar with, but once I looked it up I determined this was a therapist office. I am told be there at 4, which meant I had to leave work early to get there. I check in at the front desk and I'm told that the therapist wants to speak to me alone for a few minutes. She comes in and I now know where the parents were getting this from, because after formally greeting me she then started to provide me with a list of do's and don'ts. She then told me that my GF wanted to speak to me and had something to tell me. I go in and she is sitting on one chair and I am instructed to sit in the other. She has a box of tissues and has been crying. The therapist tells me that I am here because my girlfriend has something to tell me and that she wanted the safety of therapist office to feel safe. She then proceeds to tell me that the reason she did not meet me for lunch that day is because she was with another guy, somebody from her new job, and that they had been intimate with each other. She might as well have taken a weapon out and shot me. It couldn't have hurt anymore. I just drop my head and begin to cry. The therapist then pipes in with some logic about her taking back her sexuality since she was attacked and how this wasn't cheating in the same sense of cheating. My girlfriend then proceeds to tell me that she does not want to lose me and that she is just very messed up in the head and that it was a one-time thing and blah blah blah. I feel very trapped at that moment. I felt like I was ganged up on, and the more I set the matter I got. I finally just said to her, you haven't so much as held my hand in the past half year yet you can go F some guy you met at work while I sit like an idiot waiting for my junior high like date. This of course caused her to go into hysterics and the therapist asked me to leave. I apologized and told her to text me if she wants to keep working this out. I get that text later that day. Now she is all chatty and crap telling me that this was the worst mistake of her life and please talk to her. I tell her that I don't know if I can go on with this but agree to meet her. I flat out tell her right up front when I see her that for me to even consider going forward with this that she has to cut this other guy off, period. She tells me that is impossible because they work together and I tell her that I'm sorry but I won't even consider it if she is going to see this guy every day. She decides to find another job, and after talking with my sister, who I have told everything to, she said that while it is not common, some women do attempt to have intimacy after being attacked so that they feel like they have power again. Now why I am not the one who she did this with I have no idea, but I know I feel like I am being punished for something I did not even do. She changes jobs and we go back to our lunches, and I do this twice when I tell her that I am getting a little tired of just meeting for lunch and doing nothing else, so she agrees to come over to watch TV with me. That has been it up until tonight. Tonight she came over and we watched 2 movies and ate pizza. During the second movie I tried to give her a kiss. Nothing more, just a kiss. She backs away as though I was a cross and she was a vampire and tells me she is not ready for that yet. Okay, not my finest moment here, I admit, but I tell her that it's been a year and a month and I have not tried one goddamn thing with her or forced her into anything, and yet she willingly F some other guy months ago, but here I am still waiting to hold hands. She of course starts crying, but this time I'm not as fast to apologize. I do apologize for the tone of my voice and tell her that I would never try and force her to do anything against her will, but honestly I feel like I have been kept on the outside. I've been cheated on. I don't give 2 craps what they call it. She willingly had unprotected intimacy with someone else, and I feel like I have done everything to try and be a supportive boyfriend. I tell her that honestly I don't want her to text me until I decide what I'm going to do. I don't want to be unfair to her, but by the same token, a year is a long time and we are really no closer to being back to normal than we were 6 months ago, and I have no idea how long this will go on. Now here is the part where if you didn't think I was jerk before, you will now. I am just tired of not having intimacy. Look, I certainly understood not trying anything right afterwards and even months afterwards, but it's been over a year and we're not even holding hands, and frankly the fact that she has been with someone else since this incident is unaliving me inside. So I told her that I'm going to think things through and promise to talk with her next week sometime. But as it stands tonight, I think I'm done. I love her. I hate the idiot who ruined both of our lives. I know this isn't her fault and I hate that I feel like crap no matter what I do. If I stay I'm going to be resentful, and even if she comes over tomorrow and has intimacy with me, it will feel like either pity intimacy or desperation intimacy. But I know ending this will be punishing her for something that isn't her fault either. Advice? My god, this is way too long. TL, Dr. GF was roped over a year ago. In the meantime I have given her space and let her deal with things as she deems fit. We have not been together intimately since the attack. She on the other hand has been with another guy since. I think I'm done but looking for advice.